Hello and welcome to The Healing Way. My name's Richard Clark, and this video is about damage that's caused to the energy communication channel that I've been working on, trying to understand, blogging about, and it was a major part of Healing with Energy Step 3, which is in the process of being uploaded now. And Step 3 helps to heal this energy channel and to clear out the contents, the harmful, damaging contents of the energy channel. This video is going on The Healing Way, and it's what I see as my notebook type channel, notebook type videos, to try and work out things, to explain things, to get a clearer idea of processes, and so the viewer, if you're interested, can see the process of working things out. I mean, like Grandmaster Chess, quite often the understanding is in the notes. You can play through the game and you don't understand all the tactical stuff that got eliminated. And you need the notes for that, and this is effectively the notes for the healing with energy methods, and to help me figure stuff out a bit more. So where are we? Healing the damage caused to the energy communication channel, as I'm calling it. I need to abbreviate that. I'll find a better way of saying it. It's a bit long. I'm doing it in video because it'll probably be a bit rambling as a blog, and I just feel like doing videos, to be honest. I mean, this video is going to be probably quite rambling as well, but let's stick with it. Damage caused to the energy side of the body filters through and causes illnesses, or is a major factor in illnesses in the physical side of the body. So if the energy gets damaged, this transfers through to the body and you get illnesses without any apparent cause. Healing the energy, which is what I do and what these methods do, means that then the energy that's been repaired, the effects will then pass through to the physical body and repair, hopefully, the physical body, if it is possible to repair it. Some damage is beyond repairing, but a lot of it isn't. It's a case of healing the energy first, and then the energy heals the body, puts the body right. That's an important point. Now, I'm looking mainly at the moment at 4 long-term chronic illnesses or conditions as a guiding light, as a target thing to aim for, to understand, to work towards. And I'm quite glad I've picked these ones, because they seem, the damage caused to the healing energy channel seems to be a major factor in those conditions. And the conditions are what's known in the UK as multiple sclerosis. Elsewhere I think it's called disseminated sclerosis, and that's probably a better name. I'll explain why later. Parkinson's disease, which is another long-term chronic condition. It's called something else elsewhere. I'm trying to remember the name. Lou Gehrig's disease or something. Sorry, can't remember it. Motor neurone disease is another one, and cancer. And these are the 4 illnesses that I'm using as to gain information about. The more I can understand them, the more I can understand everything else. So let's look at the damage done to the energy communication channel and how this translates into illness, or becomes a factor in illness or disease. It keeps coming up at this point, insects. It's insects. Insects secrete or deposit something onto grasslands. I think it's important that it's grass, cellulose. It's important. And this secretion that they, oh, flying insects I should say, flying insects deposit something on grasslands, and at first thought, or first sight, I thought it was something they used to navigate by, flying insects, and it might well be. This might well be a navigation aid. But having looked at it more, it seems it might well be a navigation aid, but it's more accurate to call this secretion a beacon. It acts like a beacon. Now there's two other factors involved. One is the insects, as said before, are very toxic now because they're breeding on toxic land. I mean, if you want to read up on Wiki, the sort of things we chuck out into the environment, toxic metals, heavy metals, all kinds of poisons are just poured out into the landscape where the insects breed, and whatever they have, their larvae, their secretion, whatever it is also heavily contaminated with this toxic material. So these secretions are becoming much more powerful. Almost, they have a corrosive effect, it seems to me, a corrosive effect. They're very high energy, which is very damaging to human energy systems. Very damaging. But as I say, they have the appearance of a beacon. Okay, that's one. Now the other one is these secretions are being coated or covered with just about every chemical known to man. Insecticides, pesticides, you name it. I've been reading up on these things on Wiki. And again, the harmful ones are the insecticides that are used to kill insects on contact. Now that coats this energy, this material that the insects secrete, flying insects secrete. So that's the situation with this material. Now then, cows come along, graze on the grass. It turns up in milk, and milk, it seems, is heavily contaminated with this insect material. Heating the milk, sterilising milk doesn't do anything, not to this stuff, doesn't kill it, doesn't touch it. Now why this material doesn't harm the cow, I don't know. Maybe it does. It's producing an illness we're not aware of. I don't think it does, and I think that's because of the 4 stomachs that the cow has got. There's some factor with the cellulose as well of the grass. I can't quite get that one, but cellulose is important. Is an important transfer mechanism. It's hard to see why, but it is important. Okay, so from the cow produces milk, and the milk goes into the human being. So now we have this material, very corrosive, in the human being. It then migrates, obviously we drink it, it's in our stomachs, it gets into the blood, moves around the system, and it seems to migrate into the forearms. Now it's unclear why it ends up in the forearms, but in the forearms it can penetrate, it's corrosive, this insect material. It gets onto the outer covering, the outer skin of the communication channel and starts to rot it. Doesn't seem to do it anywhere else in the body. It's unclear why, but it's definitely there where the damage is done, and that's why Healing with Energy Step 3 repairs the damage done to the energy conduit in the forearms. This is energy. Okay, if you cut someone's arms open and have a look, you won't find anything. The problem with so much energy is it can only be perceived. We have instruments that will prove the existence of electricity, of other kinds of forces in the universe and effects. Gravity is easy enough because we feel it, we're aware of it, so that's proven. But so much energy, it cannot, there's no instrument, if you can't see it and there's no instrument to detect it, it might as well not exist. And that's the view of most people. Out of sight, out of mind. If I can't see it, it doesn't exist. It's up to you to prove it. Well, the proof of everything I do is in the healing methods, whether they work or not. Because I'm trying to explain for future generations how it is these methods were developed, how they arrived at, the logic behind them, the reasoning, everything. I'm trying to, for people who are interested, I realise a lot of people, they either want the method or they want somebody to do it to them and that's it, they're not bothered, which is fair enough. I'm not bothered a lot of what goes on in the world either. But so far as it goes, the healing methods, being energy based, are very hard to. It's very hard to understand how the energy works, because unless you can perceive it, you won't be able to. You won't be able to acknowledge it exists. Right. So this insect material, this secretion, it's not a larva. I wondered at first if it was simply insects laying eggs, but it just keeps coming up as a very powerful beacon. And that is puzzling me. Why a beacon to what? Now I'm seriously thinking that what the insect does is it lays this material as a navigation aid on grasslands, because the beacons will be spread by the animals. It seems to be a deliberate ploy to spread beacons out through not human populations as such, but mammals. So it spreads its beacons out through mammals. That seems right. That's why it's grasslands. It's grasslands. Because the cows graze on the grasslands. Yes, it needs that. That seems right. It's grasslands. So the animals graze on the grasslands. It's a deliberate ploy to spread beacons out by insects out into mammals. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, so this material, as I say, was never meant to be damaging or harmful. It's just a call. It's just a call. It's a beacon. But because it is now toxic, and because of the coating of pesticides, insecticides it has, that one's a bit unclear. I've got the feeling there's more of a mechanism involved there that needs looking at, but that one's a bit unclear. But anyway, it's in the body, it's rotting the sheaths, the outer sheath of the energy communication channel. Now I think that is the counterpart to the nervous system, that the nervous system lives within this channel, the physical nervous system lives within this channel, is encased in this energy channel. So the rotting of the outer casing, it seems to me, is replicated in the nerves, and that's when you get the nerve damage. That's when you get the nerve damage or the myelin damage of MS. It's not right. It's not quite right. There's more to it than that. I have to look. That's one of the reasons I wanted to get this video going and try and work through this more. But yeah, that needs more looking at, definitely. The insect secretions then rot through the channel and get into the channel. They rot through the walls and get into the channel, and then they can spread through the body. And this, I think, is why it's a better name calling it disseminated sclerosis, because these beacons disseminate through the body. Now these beacons, in the channel, they can get to all the rest of the nervous system and the brain, because this channel, as explained earlier on other videos, reaches up into the brain. And it could be the toxic nature of this insect material starts killing off brain cells when it gets into the brain, which is possible. I think there's more to it than that one. There's always more to it. Whenever you can never say it's that. You can only say it's that, plus there's that, and on it goes on and on and on. But it would tend to explain factors involved in, or at least, contributory factors to multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is where there's brain damage, and this is only my layman's terms. Multiple sclerosis is where it's nerve damage or the myelin sheaths around the nerves become damaged. As I've said previously, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, I just go by what I read, usually on the internet. just to get a few pointers. Okay, so that's 2. Now then, motor neuron disease, I don't know. I'm not at all sure it's connected to any of this. If it is, it's in a completely different way. It's going to need its own explanation, its own understanding, but we'll keep working, we'll keep looking at that. The healing method number 4, healing with energy step 4, this uses lead, amongst other metals, to neutralise this insect material. That's my view of it at the moment. And by neutralise, I mean it's used outside the body. It's the power of the lead to neutralise this toxic, yeah, that's it, because the toxic nature comes from toxic metals such as lead. So yeah, that quite possibly be the one that neutralises it. But I don't want anyone watching this and going out and starting eating lead or something stupid. I'll post the video at the right time, okay? But metals, the next step is to neutralise this and other conditions. The use of metals is very much a neutralisation of harmful elements method. Okay, so motor neuron disease, don't think so. Cancer. Right, well, cancer, I'm talking about the cancer of tumours now, not things like blood cancer or something like that. But where there's growth, uncontrolled growth, it seems to me we're back to insects. Now, it goes back to this idea of the body follows the energy. There's an energy that the body follows, for good or bad. Now, I haven't really looked at this one yet. Well, I have worked on cancer quite a bit in the past, and there's a lot to do, a lot to look at. But I'll tell you what I know, or what I've seen. It involves the bone marrow. There's very tiny or very small, like spores, come out of the bone marrow. This is the cancer. And this, I think, again, is insects, something to do with insects. But this isn't toxic, it isn't corrosive. Comes out of the bone marrow, and I've actually seen this early on in somebody. I was working on somebody who had lupus, and this was many years ago, so I hope she won't mind me talking about it. Obviously I won't name anybody, but she was on drugs to suppress the immune system, because lupus is an attack on the body by the immune system. And they said in a small percentage of cases people do develop cancer, and she did, and she developed it early on. And because I was working on her, I got a chance to see it right at the start, when it was just right at the beginning. And I could see these small black particles, as it were, or spores might be a better explanation, appearing out of the joints of her ankles. And that to me indicated bone marrow. And I used healing with energy method number 1 on it, and it didn't touch it. It did not touch it. They're just slightly, these spores are just slightly different enough so that the power of the washing liquids, the Liquitabs, couldn't lock onto it. It locks on to other stuff, more material stuff, more material energy, let's say, energy with a more physical aspect. But this energy was just outside of its reach. It's a damn shame. I was really annoyed about that. Really annoyed. Okay, so cancer, I think, as an insect cause, let's say, or an insect behind us, it's getting quite horrifying how much that goes wrong in us is insects. It's what it looks like. It looks like a lot of problems with insects. And what's going on with the as I say, the energy, the body follows the energy. The energy replicates itself in the body physically. So, with insects, they build hives, and hives seem to me to be what's going on with growth, where there's tumours. that it's insect energy in the body creating these, it's like they're trying to produce hives. And they produce, I've seen hives, and they don't just produce one, they produce one and produce the next one, the next one. The insects fly off and produce hives. And the energy is the same. The energy will act the same, or the insects follow the energy. So the energy is the driving motivation. And I think it's the energy trying to create the environment for the insects. That's, at the moment, just a long shot. That obviously needs much more looking at. But that's my feeling. It's insects. It keeps coming up, insects. Every time I look at something, it's insects. Now, going back to this insect material, briefly, this insect material, the other aspect to it is these beacons, this insect material acts like beacons. It calls something in. Something is drawn to it. And the something that's drawn to it looks like a mould or a fungus. There's some fungus in the body that is drawn to this insect material that's acting like a beacon, and it consumes it. And in consuming it, it damages the body. It damages the body. That is right at the edge of what I'm seeing and perceiving, so that will take a lot more work. And I hesitate to say it, to be honest. That and the tumours that are like hives. I mean, there's no end of work on that, because you've got all the different insects, all the different pesticides, all the different funguses, moulds. They all interact in different ways, and it just, there's an awful lot of work there. And I don't honestly know if it's worked for me, other than pointing the way up. After this, I'm starting work on Healing with Energy Step 4, which I'm looking forward to, which is about the use of metals. Gold, silver, iron, copper, tin. Don't know about mercury. Still thinking on that one. Okay, I've been talking for nearly half an hour, which I'm sure is long enough for anybody. If you want to get in touch, there's emails on Facebook. You can post comments. Feel free. As I say about this is very much a notebook type video, and I just wanted to sit down and just talk and see what come out. A few things have clarified, which I'm pleased about, and I know the areas I want to look at. Involved in all these illnesses that I've mentioned is the immune system. That apparently it's not these things are not autoimmune conditions, they're more, for some reason they call them immune mediators. It's not fully involved or something. It's not quite the same. But the immune system needs to be looking at. But as I say, don't take these videos too seriously, because as understanding improves and changes, then obviously the videos will change. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much for listening if you've got this far, and I look forward to seeing you, or you can look forward to seeing me on the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.